Peace and greetings, my beautiful people. What's good? It's Thryce here, and in this video what I'm doing is a comparison between the first edition of Pam's Vintage Tarot and the first edition, and then the second edition. So Game Crafter currently has a second edition of Pam's Vintage Tarot available to purchase. I will leave the link below. So that's what the title card looks like for each one, just so you can, and it is bridge size. They are small, so compared to a regular sized deck, you have an idea for those of you who aren't aware. So this is a standard size, this blue one, and then this is the bridge size. Really comfortable in my hands to work with. The cardstock does feel the same. And so what's funny is right before I pulled this video, before I started recording this video, I had went through my first edition to put them in order, but the second edition didn't come in order in the box. So I thought that was pretty funny. So let me give you a little rundown of the extra cards that come in the first edition. So we have kind of like this card here, talking about Pamela, or a little quote from Pamela Coleman there. And then we get some of these really cool kind of, this is an extra thing of art, Pam's work, artistry. And then there are these little guys that also come along with the first edition, which is now out of print. So basically, if you were to want to get your hands on a first edition, these particular cards should be available to you in that. So I would just make sure that you're not getting got. Okay, so that's for the first edition. And then so for the second edition, since I did kind of flick through them real fast, these are the extra cards that it comes with. Okay, so for the second edition, here are the extra cards that come along with it. They're like not in any particular order, but I'm just gonna give them to you the way that I have them here. So here's this little card right here, which is sideways. Then we have this card. Then we have this card. This one. And we have this one. I think all of these extra cards are really, really beautiful, and I may use these as bookmarks, just because sometimes I don't know what to do with these extra cards, and I read a lot, and I'm always sticking like a random piece of paper or something. Here, let me hold that from the bottom. Aren't these beautiful? And this one, there are two more. So here we have this one, and we have this one. All right, so those are your extra cards for the second edition of Pam's Vintage Tarot. Okay. I thought that the deck felt kind of large, and I forgot about those extra cards. So there we have it. So let's do a little bit of comparing and contrasting between these two, just to give anybody who's curious an idea of kind of what's going on. Okay, I can't get my life together. Okay, here. So right away, I can tell when we look at the backs of the two decks that the first edition backings are way more, like this looks tea stained and this looks coffee stained. So you can definitely see. All right, I'm about to change it up real fast, you guys. I just wanted to be really sure that you guys got a good look at the differences there. So as you can see, like I said, this looks coffee stained, and the other one looks tea stained. Anything else? The backings are in a particularly the same, they are in the same order, the backings. So let's go ahead and give this a flip, and then we will compare and contrast, because the second edition, like I said, is not in order. So, well, actually here, I think it might be easier to do it this way. Okay, so that is first edition, or I'm sorry, second edition, and here is the first edition, High Priestess. All right, so I'm looking at the fronts of them. I'm not really noticing, oh, well, here's what's different. Comparing the two, you can see more of her dress on the very bottom there. You can see more of the High Priestess dress, and even a bit of the floor right on the bottom. You don't really see that in the first edition. It's kind of like her gown is flowing right off of the card. Let me give you guys another one. So here is the double card, and those look pretty identical. Again, we're having the same thing going on with the ground, so it's almost like he's raised up just a touch compared to the other one. So I don't know if they were just trying to fill out the corners more, or what they needed to do to make a second run, but I'm definitely picking up on this. Luckily, the backs of the cards are so different that I wouldn't be able to get these two mixed up. So here is the Empress. And I'm just doing a few cards because I don't want to keep you guys here forever and a day, but I definitely wanted to share in the love here. So, okay, so here's something else that I noticed. We could definitely see it here in the particularly in the High Priest, I'm sorry, in the Empress card. So right here on the corners of the first edition, there's like this little filigree thing going on, and the corners are, of course, they're darkened and stuff like that, right? On this one, there's no, that little filigree that was there over here is not on the second edition. So very interesting. In the first edition, you can see the whole river in the back, and you cannot, it's kind of cut off over here. So it's like it's more centered or something. How interesting, just comparing and contrasting these little tiny minute details. All right, what else are we coming to? Let's do a, so here we have the first edition next to the second edition of the Eight of Wands. So again, you can see the filigree bit right here, and over here the river, you almost don't even notice it's a river, but here you can tell there's like this stream or river happening on the bottom. Very cool. All right, maybe a court card. Let's try a court card. Here we have the Page of Wands. So let me pull that bad boy out. All right, so as we can definitely tell, the first edition, if you were to get the first edition of Pam's Vintage, there should be some filigree on the side. So you want to make sure there's some filigree on the sides, particularly noticeable in some of these lighter background cards. So that way you're not getting duped into purchasing a second edition and somebody's claiming it to be a first. So keep that in mind. This one, it looks like he's standing on the bottom of the card, and this one, again, you can just see more land. So I'm not sure. I just think they maybe try to fix, center them better, or get them more centered so you can see more of the floor. Let me try. So what's another good one that everybody likes? Well, here's the Wheel of Fortune. I know that one's kind of busy. I mean, not busy, but oh, well, that would be the right way up. Okay, so yeah, I think it's more of a centering and inching it upward just a touch, just to center, I'm guessing, maybe some of the stage cards, or something to that effect. Here's another one, the Eight of Pentacles. So here we have the Eight of Pentacles, and again, most you could tell is the filigree on the side and the raised kind of panning of what the view looks like. Is it raised or would it be lowered? Either way, you can just see more of the floor in this edition. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's any other cards specific you guys want to see. In looking at these two, it even looks like the stain, the antique stain, looks a little bit more aged on the front side of the car. I don't know. I mean, they both look like they have the vintage feel to it, but the coloration of it is a little bit more deep than on this side. But that only seems relevant to the front side of the cards, not to the back side of the cards. Here's the Fool. Let's do the Fool. And I'll leave it at the Fool because, you know, you should know. If you don't know, now you know. Okay, bum. There we go. So then we have, the Fool. And we can just see more of the cliff, a little more on the bottom there. Aesthetically wise, I mean, you can definitely, this one, I think, I mean, they'll both age very well. But if there's a preference that you may have, maybe that filigree thing was bothering you and you once had the deck and now you want to go for the second edition, it's not really too, I just wanted to see what the comparison was because I love this deck so much. I went ahead and got the second edition. So, and those are the backs again. So yeah, so anyways, I hope that this helped break down kind of what the differences are for the two different versions of Pam's Vintage Tarot. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I will link the Game Crafter URL where you can get Pam's Vintage second edition. It is a limited edition, so I'm not sure how many copies they've made and how many they plan on making, and if they plan on coming out with a third edition and whatnot. But I'll go ahead and leave what I know at this current time in the description box for you guys. And so thank you for hanging with me. Much love, many blessings. Peace.